Yes, go ahead. Quit it.
Is it on?
It's on.
Good evening. Welcome to part 2 of our campground review. We're going to do at least the Alaska campgrounds in this video, and then we may do another one of the ones we stayed in Canada on the way back home. I know the lighting is different. It's dark outside. It's I don't know what time it is, 9 o'clock or so.
Yeah,
here
it's 9
in Spokane.
Yeah.
But okay, in Tok we stayed at what's the name of it?
The Tok RV Villages, and I don't know what else, but it's Tok RV Village.
In Tok, Alaska.
You can't miss it.
No, it's the first. Tok is the first town that you come to after you cross the border on the Alcan. So we stayed there the first night and the last night in Alaska. I thought it was fine. The bathrooms were okay. They had a laundry, and the sites were fairly level. And it was next to, was it Fast Freddy's?
Fast Eddie's.
Fast Eddie's, not Fast Freddy's. Yeah. Fast Eddie's, which was a pretty good restaurant. So
yes.
So I enjoyed it. What do you think, Mama?
Yeah, it was good. The sites I thought were a little close together for things, and the showers were pretty good, and the laundry was pretty good. They had most of their machines going. Other than that, it was it was okay.
Pardon the live action, but Henry needs another treat, so walk with me.
There we go. That's right.
We're on Candid, Alaska here. Here, you want that or what you need? That's what you got. That's all there is. That's all you get. You're just gonna have to calm down. Okay, I'm sorry. We're back.
Here we go.
We left Tok and we went to Palmer, KOA, which is Palmer is it's about 30 miles from Anchorage, so we didn't want to stay right in Anchorage, so we stayed in Palmer for a couple of days to rest up and to go to the store and stuff like that. So it was okay. The sites were not level. The bathrooms were okay. The sites were not level, and they didn't have much of a dog area. So me and Henry just wound up walking around the perimeter of the campground so he could do his constitutional. What'd you think, Mama?
Yeah, I guess I was disillusioned by the KOA because I just assumed, and that's on me for not really investigating, but I just assumed that if you book with KOA, because they are sometimes a little more expensive, that you're going to get a better kind of place. But that has not been the case in the last 3 KOAs that we've stayed in, or the last 4. We've stayed actually in 4. We stayed at 1 on the way up. But this one in Palmer, they're transitioning over to a KOA. The sites are like silt gravel. It's almost like the consistency of sand, a little bit rougher than that. Hardly any big gravels, and it was raining, and I have swept that stuff out of the rig for the last, it was a good week, and I think I finally got the last of it as we were going up into Alaska out. The sites were very unlevel. The laundry room, about 3 washers didn't work out of the 5 that they had. 2 or 3 of the dryers didn't work. They claimed they had a table and chair. They only had 1 chair and a table. And the bathrooms were pretty decent. They were big showers, and the bathrooms were good. But I just wouldn't recommend staying there. I mean, there's lots of things they need to fix. They need to grate the sites, and they need to do something about that silt. They just need to put in gravel. We've stayed places that are gravel parking lots, and it's been great. There's not been that much gravel in the rig. But this place, no, wouldn't recommend it.
We left Palmer and went to Homer.
Yes.
Stayed at a KOA in Homer.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like this one. We stayed there because it's on the bluff overlooking the Cook Inlet, and I thought there'd be a view. And when we got there, I asked to change to a drive-in, a pull-through site. I was over the. I would rather have a pull-through site than a view. But she said, no, we've got you a site with a great view. You're not going to want to give this up. And I said, okay. So our view ended up being the campground was so unkept. They didn't keep the shrubs trimmed or the bushes trimmed or anything. So our view would have been of the Cook Inlet, but we couldn't see it because of the bushes. So we paid extra for the site with a view, and our view was of some Alaskan bushes. So
Right.
The bathrooms weren't bad. I didn't think that they were, their bathrooms, the showers were okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the site, and it did not have a dog area.
Yeah, that was the same. They had a very good shower. It was a very nice shower. The laundry room, I didn't look at that, but it looked to be very nice. It was kind of misleading. They kept saying there was a shower down in this little hole that we were in, and I think there was, but it was not somewhere probably you'd want to take a shower. So, yeah, I wouldn't stay at that KOA either.
We're not having much luck with KOA.
Right,
and
we're not.
You're paying extra for the KOA membership.
Yes.
And I don't think it's worth the money.
Yeah, we will not renew our KOA membership. First of all, you have to stay 1,000 nights somewhere to even try to get your free night or any of that stuff. So we're just not going to renew that membership. It just doesn't make any sense for us to do that.
We left Homer and went to Seward, and in Seward we stayed at not a KOA. It was the name of it was what?
Stony Creek RV.
Stony Creek RV. It was before you get to downtown Seward, such as it is, and it was kind of you have to go across the railroad tracks and turn right and turn left, but I enjoyed the campground. Had some pretty views. It didn't have a dog area, but there was plenty of room to walk the dogs. And the bathrooms were okay. I didn't have any complaints with it. Mama?
Yeah, the bathrooms were dirty. The faucets, the shower heads and things. I mean, when you're up close to a shower head, yeah, it was dirty. And they had a mop there that they wanted you to mop up after you showered. No, I'm not doing that. I'm at the campground, and maybe that's wrong of me for thinking that, but I'm not cleaning the campground. I paid to stay there, and I'm not just trying to flood the floor either. But I kind of thought that was in poor taste. It did have pretty views, but it was really nothing to write home about. I didn't think the campgrounds.
We didn't have the whole trip up to now. We haven't had a campfire.
No.
And we were going to have one there at this campground one night, but our neighbors came in, and they were either inexperienced or the sites were too close or whatever the reason was, but their slide came out over our fire pit, so we couldn't have a campfire that night. So that was kind of a bummer. If your sites are that close that somebody else's slide goes over your fire pit, then the sites are too close. We left there and we went to
Palmer.
Back to Palmer to the same KOA. I know we say we didn't like it, but it was the devil is sometimes better than the devil you don't. So
yeah.
So we just stayed there one night in the interim, and then we left there and went to Valdez.
Yes.
One of those, and there we stayed at a KOA. I don't remember it, to tell you the truth.
Well, the sites were too small. This was the one where Papa was pulling in, and I said, "Are you sure this is the site?" Because it did not look big enough for our rig. It was very muddy there. Now I understand it rains. It rains in places. I understand that, but it's very, very muddy, and the mud stinks. Just to be honest with you, they could put in a load of gravel in those sites. Our site was uneven. The bathhouses, while a good concept, I did not like that because they were not separated by men and women. You just went in and you just went in a shower stall or a bathroom stall or a bathroom with a door that locked. You hope it locked, but men could come in and women could come in, the men's, and vice versa. So I didn't really care for that. You know, I'm just not with all that, and you hope everybody's on good behavior, but what if they're not? You know, I'm not really particularly worried about myself, but you know, what if a young girl was in there and some man come in or a woman come in or whatever? So I don't really care for that. So I didn't like the KOA there. So I think there's a pattern with the KOAs.
Something I didn't mention in the earlier review video that I meant to was the leash law with dogs. You know, every campground we've been in, maybe except this one where we're at now in Spokane, the dogs just run loose and nobody says anything about it.
Right.
Every time you check in, they tell you, oh, we're strict on the dog leash law, and we're strict on the dog, picking up their leavings law, and they're not. And dadgummit, our dog is on the leash, and I pick up his poop. Everybody else should also. And if they're not going to enforce it, then just let them run loose and be done with it. Don't act like you got the rule if you're not going to enforce the rule.
Right.
We left Valdez and went back to
Toke.
and stayed at the same place again. The devil you know is worth the devil, but there's not a lot of, especially in Toke and Valdez and Homer, there's not a lot to choose from. So if you get one that's tolerable, it's better to stay there than take a chance at something else.
Yeah.
What else you got, Mama?
Then we boondocked at Destruction Bay on Kluane Lake, just at a pull-off, which was better than the creepy campground that we stayed at on the way up there. I was kind of apprehensive, but then we had another camper pull in and then another van camper pull in. So we all kind of spent the night there together. You know, we was kind of far apart, but it was good somebody else was there with us. So we did boondock then. And then the next one we came to, did you want to say anything about the boondocking?
No,
just boondocking.
Yeah.
Then the next one we come to was Watson Lake, and we stayed again at the downtown RV park, which is just basic, has full hookups, had clean bathrooms, didn't have to pay for those, which was good.
By the time we got to this point, we were ready to be out of Canada.
Yes.
So instead of staying at Whitehorse, which what we did on the way up, we just pushed through Whitehorse and went straight through to Watson Lake and eliminated a day in Canada. And in Watson Lake, we stayed at the same campground we stayed at before. We left there and we went to Fort Nelson, and we stayed at the Triple G Hideaway.
Yes. Yes. You had to pay for the showers. The bathrooms were stinky. First thing you walk in, they're stinky. You had to step way up into the shower. Excuse me. And the site was unlevel. You couldn't cook at your sites. They did have a restaurant, so I guess that was, so that you'd patronize their restaurant. But the bathroom, when you walked in, it was probably, a good 10 inches up on this little step. And a step, it was just like a step on your porch. And then you kind of stepped into the shower. And so to come out, you kind of stepped and had to balance on this little bitty step, in your wet shower shoes, and then try to step down 10 inches or whatever. I almost had to call Papa to clear out the bathroom to help me down, but because I was afraid I was going to fall, because it was, your feet are wet, you've been in the shower, you got your shower shoes on, you're trying to do. So yeah, I don't know the deal with that. And like I said, with people, if you've got mobility issues, arthritis or something, or just prone to falling, I'm accident prone, let me tell you that. I don't know. I just don't know if they're all like that. Surely not, because we've stayed at some that's not. But I just not recommend this place, to be honest with you.
And we left there and went to Dawson Creek and we stayed at the
Mile Zero. Mm-hmm.
th- They're all starting to run together, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But it was all right. I think guys put less emphasis, less priority on how clean something is. You know, you go in there and you take care of your business and you take a shower and you go on. So, you know, ones that Mama may dislike it, I didn't pay that much attention to.
Yeah.
So it was all right to me, but
it was okay. It was good. You didn't. I think they were free showers, and the sights were okay. We was just there one night.
Yeah.
We were right across from the bathroom, which is great. So yeah, I would stay there again if I went to Canada, but I'm not. So now we're on to Red Deer.
This was, to me, it was the worst campground we stayed at.
And it was called RV There Yet, right? Was that it? Yeah.
It was attached to a golf course, and they acted like, you know, if you didn't, the feeling I got was if you didn't golf, if you weren't there to, you know, for a golfing outing, then you were just taking up space. And I didn't like the site, didn't like the bathrooms. I didn't like they didn't have a dog area. They had a lot of signs not to bring your dog here, don't take your dog there, don't take your dog here. But they didn't have a place for them to do their business, so we did it on the golf course. Not really. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. You know,
JK.
But, you know, but I just didn't care for it. But by this time it was our last night in Canada, and it could have been a Hilton, and I wouldn't have been happy. I was ready to go.
Yeah, our site was very, very unlevel. Very unlevel. Yeah, and I don't know if you had to pay for the showers or not. I think you did. I think you did have to pay there for the showers. So it was all together. Papa said like the toilet and the shower was together, which is fine. You know, if it's all separated out in like a building or whatever, I'm okay with that. But those are just the places, and like Papa said, we were ready to go. So we just kind of slept and got up the next morning and just come on across the U.S. border into Sweetgrass.
We keep complaining. Oh, sorry, about dropped you. We keep complaining about the the level, the sites being unlevel. There are things you can do. You know, you have leveling blocks. You can the fancy rigs have automatic levelers. We don't have them, but we do have leveling blocks. You can put under the tires, put under this tire and raise it up, put under the back tire and raise it up. But it's just an extra step that you shouldn't have to do. Like where we are tonight, they have concrete pads. It's a little more expensive, but you know, it's as level as your floor in your house. But it's just something else that you shouldn't have to do. You're paying the extra money. You're contributing money to their tourist economy. You know, level the darn sites out. It's not that hard to come in there and spread some gravel out. But there we go.
Yeah.
But after that, we crossed back into the States and stayed at my favorite campground of the trip so far. Biggest showers, biggest sites, best, you know, and it was in Shelby, Montana. I don't remember the name of it, but
the Lewis and Clark RV Park.
Lewis and Clark RV Park.
Yes, that's where you need to stay.
If you're ever in Shelby, Montana, stay there.
Yes. If you cross back over, if you're going to Canada and Alaska and you cross back over in Sweetgrass, go on down to Shelby, Montana, and stay at the Lewis and Clark RV Park. So nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
The
big sites.
The big sites. The bathrooms were great. The showers were great.
Yes.
The hosts or the owners were great.
Yes.
They live on site. The guy said if you got any problems, we live upstairs. And it's on take two.
Take two.
We had some technical difficulties last night. Evidently, Mama does not understand that her phone needs charging occasionally because she's on the Insta and on her checking her socials. She has quite a fan base.
Socials.
So, but our
hashtag memo.
There you go. But our phone died last night, so here's the end of what we were going to say last night. We were talking about the Lewis and Clark RV Park in Shelby, Montana.
Yes.
Can't recommend that enough. And if you stay there, go down to the Roadrunner Cafe. It's in a bowling alley, but
yes.
it's the best food in Shelby.
Yes, it's good.
And then if you go on down around the corner towards the toward the truck stop, there's a coffee place that's pretty good. I can't remember the name of it, but
I don't either, but it was good.
Yeah.
It's just a little drive-through, little shack kind of thing, you know how they have them. But it was really good.
And we've done these out of order, but we'll probably do another video that talks about the campsites in the States that we, from the time we left home through crossing into Canada, and then once we get home, that we'll do one from crossing back into the States until we get home.
Yeah.
So again, they're out of order, but just watch them in order is all you got to do.
Yeah, that's right.
What else you got, Mama?
Nothing, that's it. We just wanted to say that. I'm going to post the part 2 of the campgrounds and things. And there again, let me just say, these are our opinions, just things I notice and things like that, and things that I don't think's been mentioned in the other YouTube videos. If I have seen them and they've said them, I've missed it, because one of our subscribers said that as well. They said, I'm glad you said about the showers, because the other ones that I've watched, the YouTube videos, hadn't mentioned that. So those people may be self-contained, but as Papa pointed out, one of the YouTubers that we watch is not that self-contained. They're always talking about they're going here and there to take a shower, and they did not mention that in the videos as they went through Canada. So just some things that we have observed while being there. A few other things about going through Canada. If you're going down the what is it, the Cassiar, things are very spread apart, and they are also spread apart in the Alcan as well. So just be sure to stock up on your foodstuffs. And I tried to bring things like extra of our toiletries and things, because I didn't want to be buying those things in Canada or even in Alaska, where things are a bit pricier. So I didn't bring a whole ton of things, but just like, you know, an extra deodorant, an extra thing of toothpaste, things like that. Extra paper towels, we brought those. In our refrigerator, we was having some trouble with that, so really bringing extra cold food was not an option unless with our cooler. But then we ran into the issue of it's hard to find ice. So Papa went, and we've probably touched on this in a video, but he went and got we got the backpacking meals, which come in handy a few times, because, you know, there was nothing around, and we didn't really, we had food obviously, but, you know, nothing major, so we just ate a backpack meal, and that was great, and that was fine, and that gave us our protein and things like that, and we were good. So I just encourage you to think about your food situation, make sure, you know, you're kind of stocked up, because at the Walmart in Whitehorse, no fresh food, no fresh meat. The shelves were bare. Now, it could have not been that way at the other grocery store over across the way. I don't know. I didn't go over there. I just assumed, that's what you get for assuming, that the Walmart would have what I needed, but they didn't. So just kind of plan on those things. Just prepare for those kind of things as well.
When we're thinking about the trip, we watched a boatload of YouTube videos.
Yes.
And when we were planning, we watched a boatload more, and then when we were serious, we're going to go, we watched a boatload more, and there are very few YouTube videos that say anything negative, and I don't know if they don't want to say anything negative, or if they're afraid if they're negative they won't get the views that they're looking for. But it's not all rainbows and unicorns.
No, it's not.
It's, you know, I think everybody should go to Alaska. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, driving probably wasn't the best choice for us, but because of our situation and with Henry, that was the only viable option we had. So we went, and I'm glad we did, and we survived, and we saw things we were never going to see again, and had a once in a lifetime experience. But if we're going to go again, we're going to fly, or we're going to take a cruise.
Yes.
But, you know, I said all that to say this, you know, if you're watching this, I don't want you to go up there thinking that it's going to be, you know, it's just going to be glaciers every time you turn around, and a grizzly bear behind every tree, and eagles building a nest in the top of your RV. Because it ain't like that.
No.
We got extremely lucky and saw grizzlies on our actual last day in Alaska, and we saw half a dozen eagles, and it was the last day in Valdez made the trip worthwhile. If we hadn't seen the grizzly bears, I'd have been disappointed, because we spent countless amounts of money going up there, and almost a little over 3 weeks going up and coming back. And we could have, most of what we saw, we could have seen it, in almost any state in the Union. And there's the Glacier National Park is prettier than any place we saw in Alaska, in my opinion. And there, driving through western Montana is prettier than anything in Canada. And Mama was too nice to talk about this. It's just our opinion. And, my opinion's right. And I agree with Mama's opinion when she agrees with mine.
That's
so
right.
That's if she agrees with me, then she's right. So our opinions are the only ones that count. So if I hope I'm not trying to sound negative, but I wanted to include everything that we experience, so that you're going into it with your eyes open, instead of just thinking, like some YouTubers do. It's just, oh, it's gorgeous. It's, we went to did this, we went to did that, we didn't do that. They don't talk about the full day of driving where it's just boring.
Yeah.
Or multiple days driving where it's just boring.
Right.
And gas in Dease Lake was nearly $6 a gallon by the time you do the conversion.
Yeah.
So, there are good and bad to everything. It was a good trip. We're glad we went, but there are downsides to it also.
Yes, that's true.
What else you got?
Well, in talking about gas, Papa tried to fill up. I mean, he did fill up every time pretty much we ran into a gas station. I don't think he let it get below a half a tank, 3/4 of a tank if possible. And that's the way you should do, is if you see a gas station, if you're at a half a tank, I would suggest you stop and get you some gas, because they're few and far between. I would do that, and like you said, you gotta take the good with the bad, and it's great, and I'm glad we went, but we just want you to know, I guess, the real story, because and we are in some Facebook groups, and I've left some of them now since we've completed our Alaska trip, but Papa had put on one of them about the road from Destruction Bay to Toke, how terrible it was on the way up. And people were like, oh, no, it wasn't that bad, and this, that, and another. And it was bad. It was bad. Let me tell you, it was bad. And on the way back, I don't know if we just kind of knew what to expect, but it didn't seem as bad. And I don't know how that's possible. But it is bad. There was holes as big as my Kia. I mean, just like big dips and all these things. The gravel on the road is like washboard, and you go across that. I could not even do 5 miles an hour really in the Kia. I was driving the Kia to get across that. The transfer trucks coming towards you, they're hitting it wide open. Gravel's just a flying, and dust flying, you can't see. So those are all things that you need to know. And people are like, oh, the Cassier's not that terrible. Yeah. In some places it is. It's bad. Also, let me touch on this. I would encourage you as well, which we've talked about, getting the Garmin InReach 2 Mini. Because when we left Canada and come into Alaska, there's a stretch that you don't have service. So when we come in, the air was heavy with smoke from the wildfires. You can smell it. And it's so hazy you can't see, so I'm looking around like, okay, where's the fire? Because there's a lot of smoke here. And so I messaged our son on the InReach Mini and asked him, can you please look and see where the wildfires are? Are we close? Because he can track us on the map on Google and on the Garmin, because I didn't have service. Because on Google, you can go on there and you can, it has your location, and you can hit an icon and it'll say the wildfire is kind of close to you, and you can kind of look. But we didn't have service. So he looked it up and he told me, they were, wherever they were at that time. So luckily we weren't that close to them, but I would encourage you to do that as well. if you have a point of contacts back in the States, if you're traveling, and if you don't have service and something like that occurs, you can get those alerts because it's not coming on your phone. And I don't know enough about the Garmin InReach really to be able to tell you if it would come on your phone for that, but I don't think so. Ours, you can check the weather. We got the plan where you can check the weather and things, but I don't know if that would really help you out or not. So it was good just to be able to message Tyler and just ask him, and he looked it up and he let us know, and he would have let us know, if something was happening as far as evacuations or, hey, y'all are headed into this place and, there's fire all around. He would have let us know that. So I'd encourage you to get one of those for when you don't have service, and everybody can stand to be off grid a little while. But in cases like that, when you're going in somewhere and you see all that and you don't know what's happening, that's good to have, I think.
One more comment about the roads, and I'll let that sleeping dog lie because Prime Minister Trudeau ain't gonna fix it no matter how much I gripe about it. But there are bad roads in the States. Michigan has bad roads. Coming through St. Louis, it was full of potholes. But if you bust a tire in St. Louis, there's literally 300 people you can call, and they'll come and fix your tire, or they'll come and haul you away. If you're in Destruction Bay and you pop a tire, you're stuck.
Yeah.
If you can't change it yourself, which we had the compressor, we got a spare, we got the jack, we could have changed it and limped along to where we had to get to. But the isolation, it adds to the excitement. We were such, but it also adds to the risk factor, and you have to factor that in. It's just me and my mom, but if we had kids, or if we had emergency, and if somebody gotten hurt and popped a tire trying to get them to the doctor, we'd have been up a creek.
Yeah, we would have been.
So you have to factor that in too. If you want to go.
Yes.
But just understand the roads are not what you're used to in the States. Me and my mom drove a Chevy Spark up to Animas Forks, Colorado.
Yeah.
11 miles of dirt road, and Animas Forks is at 14,000 something feet. And that road was better than the road to Destruction Bay.
Yes.
And that's no lie. That's the gospel truth.
Yes.
So you have to just keep that in mind. Again, if you want to go. Just remember that the road's going to be bad, and be prepared for as many eventualities as you can prepare for.
Yes, that's right.
Getting off my soapbox. What else you got, Mama?
That's it. That's this part, and like Papa said, we'll do another part of the campgrounds we took going up, just in case anybody's interested in that, if you're going to go that route. And like I said, it did kind of change because our intent was going to Jasper and Banff and up through there in the beginning, but with the fires we had to reroute. But then we picked up our little campgrounds on up the road. I think at Watson Lake, you'd said. Yeah. So anyway, we hope this helps, and if there's nothing else, we'll see you down the road.